Your English Corner is where English becomes interesting. Welcome. We begin today the exciting adventure of Adolf Hitler, one of the most controversial people in history. Whether you like him or not, his story is full of power, ambition, disappointments, and fantasies. This is a unique account of Adolf Hitler's journey from a young child with lofty aspirations to a man who forever altered the course of history. Are you prepared? Put on your headphones, take a seat back, and let's begin this amazing story that will help you become more fluent in English and keep you interested all the way through. It all began on April 20th, 1889, in the Austrian village of Braunau am in Lois, and Clara Hitler had a newborn boy. They gave him the name Adolf. Nobody could have predicted that this young boy would become a global force. Adolf wasn't unique as a kid. He enjoyed drawing, playing outside, and envisioning a bright future. However, life wasn't flawless. Alois, his father, was very severe. Alois hoped Adolf would work hard in school and follow in his footsteps by joining the government. Adolf, however, dreamed something else. He would tell his mother, "I want to be an artist." His mother, Clara, cherished him and encouraged him to pursue his ambition. She was unable to alter Alois's decision, though. Adolf and his father had several arguments during his early years. "Art is not a real job," his father would yell. Adolf would also keep his mouth shut and cover his eyes. His father passed away unexpectedly when he was 13 years old. Adolf's father's passing left a void in his heart, despite the belief of several that he would feel liberated. Adolf began to miss school. He used to be a good student, but he no longer cared. Adolf is intelligent, yet lazy, according to his teachers. He was only interested in drawing. Adolf packed up his belongings and relocated to Vienna, the Austrian capital, after completing his education. He was giddy. The city of art is Vienna. Here, he thought, I'll become a famous painter. He submitted an application to the large art school, the Academy of Fine Arts. However, his heart ached as the results were revealed. He did not enter. "Your work is not good enough," the school informed him. Adolf was embarrassed. He said, "I'll try again." However, the school turned him away once more the next year. He was heartbroken. Without a job or a school, Adolf's life was difficult. He occasionally slept on the streets and lived in cramped, filthy quarters. For a small profit, he painted postcards and sold them to travelers. He frequently wondered why life was so unfair. Adolf's mother died during this period. He felt angry and alone. He began blaming others for his shortcomings. He'd say, "It's not my fault." Everything changed in 1914. Adolf saw an opportunity to give his life purpose when World War I broke out. He enlisted in the German military. He cherished his military career. At last, he thought, "I am a part of something huge." During the conflict, Adolf showed courage. He was awarded 2 medals for his courage in delivering communications across perilous battlefields. However, Germany lost the war in 1918. Adolf was enraged. He yelled, "Our leaders betrayed us." He believed that Germany required a strong leader to restore its dominance. Adolf went back to Germany after the war. The nation was in disarray. People were hungry and impoverished. The conclusion of the war infuriated many. For Adolf, this was his chance. He became a member of the German Workers' Party a little political organization. Adolf was a gifted orator. People listened to him when he spoke. He spoke with passion, rage, and assurances. He would say that Germany would rise again. He began to be followed by an increasing number of people over time. The group was renamed the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazi Party, by Adolf. Their emblem, a crimson flag with a black swastika, was created by him. "This will become the world's most powerful symbol," he said. His speeches gained notoriety. To hear him, thousands of people gathered. They shared his vision of a powerful Germany. Adolf's theories, however, were risky. He intended to make Germany exclusively for Germans and blamed specific groups of people for the country's issues. Germany was in serious trouble following World War I. Many families were hungry, food was costly, and people were unemployed. As a result of losing the war, the nation was forced to pay large sums of money to foreign countries. The Germans were depressed and furious. Adolf Hitler witnessed this suffering. "I know who is to blame. It's not your fault," he informed the crowd. His remarks made people angry at others, but they also offered them hope. Adolf gained popularity gradually. Adolf put a lot of effort into expanding his party. He delivered impassioned, boisterous remarks at large gatherings. He yelled, "Germany can be great again." People cheered and applauded. They took his dream seriously. Adolf attempted to overthrow the German government through force in 1923. This failed and was dubbed the Beer Hall Putsch. Adolf was taken into custody and imprisoned for 9 months. Adolf composed Mein Kampf, or My Struggle, when he was incarcerated. He discussed his thoughts in this book. He claimed that certain social groups were the enemy and that Germany needed to gain power. As a result of the book's popularity, many Germans began to accept his theories. Adolf put forth much more effort after being released from prison. The Nazi Party grew more powerful. Adolf Hitler was elected as Germany's top leader and chancellor in 1933. A fresh chapter began at this point. Adolf promised a bright future, jobs, and a powerful military. Although they had faith in him, they were unaware of his future plans. Adolf changed a lot while he was chancellor. He constructed factories, schools, and roadways. More employment were created, and Germany's image improved. The populace was content. "Hitler is a hero," they declared. Adolf had risky schemes behind this triumph, though. He was in charge of schools, radios, and newspapers. People were told that Adolf Hitler was the only person they could believe. He persecuted or imprisoned those who disagreed with him. Adolf formed the Hitler Youth, an organization of young boys, and a powerful army known as the SS. They propagated Nazi ideologies and trained to battle. The swastika was seen everywhere in Germany. It came to represent Adolf's strength. Adolf's orations had even more impact. "Germany is the greatest," he would declare. "The world will be ruled by us." "Heil Hitler" was yelled and celebrated by the crowds. It was Adolf's most audacious move in 1939. He gave the command to attack Poland with his forces. The Second World War began with this legislation. Adolf wanted to conquer all of Europe and establish Germany as the world's most powerful nation. Adolf's army first prevailed in numerous conflicts. They were well trained and powerful. However, things began to go wrong as the fight continued. Adolf's enemies were too numerous. During the war, Adolf was committing a horrible act. All Jews and others he believed didn't belong in his ideal Germany were to be expelled. One of the darkest periods in human history was known as the Holocaust. In camps, millions of innocent people perished. Germany began to lose the war by 1944. Adolf's adversaries, including Britain, the Soviet Union, and the United States, were too powerful. The people who had hailed Adolf as a hero started to lose hope when bombs dropped on German cities. Adolf started to get paranoid. He stayed hidden in his bunker most of the time and had no faith in anyone. Adolf Hitler's aspirations to become universal ruler were beginning to crumble by 1944. Once seemingly invincible, his army was now losing battles everywhere. The German army was driven back from the east by the Soviet Union, one of his greatest adversaries. Meanwhile, soldiers from the United States and Great Britain launched an attack from the west. Night and day, German cities were bombarded. People turned against Adolf, and families lost their houses. We followed him, but why? Many people inquired. Adolf persisted, though. He instructed his generals while seated in his bunker. "We will not give up," he yelled. Adolf, however, understood in his heart that the war was lost. Adolf remained in a Berlin bunker located far below the surface at the beginning of 1945. Although it was dark and cold, the bunker was bombed. Despite the lack of hope, Adolf spent his time inside making plans. He wasn't by himself. His girlfriend, Eva Braun, was among his most devoted supporters. Adolf kept their connection a secret, but Eva had been by his side for many years. Even when he was at his lowest, she adored him. The gunshots outside the bunker was getting louder every day. Berlin was approaching the Soviet army. His counselors whispered that the end was coming. Other nations' leaders pleaded with Adolf to give up. They urged Adolf to save the German people, but he refused. To him, giving up was an indication of weakness. He stated icily that if Germany loses, it's because the people weren't strong enough. Berlin was encircled by April 1945. The city was under assault from all sides by the Soviet troops. People fled for their lives as buildings crumbled and fires flared. On the 29th of April 1945, Adolf took a decision that was unexpected. While in the bunker, he married Eva Braun. Only a handful of individuals attended the modest ceremony. Adolf said, "Eva, you've always been by my side." Despite knowing that this was not a joyful time, Eva grinned. Adolf and Eva talked about their lives and their accomplishments for hours after the wedding. They both knew it was almost over. Adolf made up his mind on April 30th, 1945, declaring, "I will not be captured alive." He summoned his closest supporters into the bunker. Adolf felt that dying was preferable to being captured by his adversaries. He went to a little room with Eva. They committed suicide a short while later. Adolf was 56. Adolf and Eva were dead when the Soviet troops arrived at the bunker. Soon later, the European War came to a conclusion. On May 8, 1945, Germany submitted. All that was left for the German people were ruins. Adolf's ambition to make Germany strong had instead resulted in misery and devastation. Because of what he did, millions of people died. The globe began to reconstruct after Adolf's passing. Germany became a nation of peace. To make sure that similar tragedies never occurred again, People recalled the atrocities of the Holocaust and World War II. Adolf Hitler's name serves as a reminder today of the perils of hatred, unbridled ambition, and power abuse. Lastly, we learn from his experience that every choice we make affects how our lives turn out. Millions of people suffered as a result of Adolf's decisions, not just himself. This serves as a reminder that every activity, no matter how minor, counts. We must make thoughtful selections and always consider how our choices will affect other people, as well as the value of compassion and solidarity. People are only torn apart by hatred and division. When we unite, treat one another with respect, and strive for peace, the world is a much better place. Life is too short to waste it on rage and condemnation. We may build a future full of hope rather than sorrow by being kind and understanding. Thus, keep in mind to choose unity over division, humility over pride, and love over hate. These easy lessons have the power to improve the world. This was the tale of Adolf Hitler, a man whose actions permanently altered the course of history. It's a tale of power, dreams, and the errors that resulted in tragedy. Recall that history encompasses more than just the past. We learn how to create a better future from it. I appreciate you listening. Additionally, remember to subscribe, like, and share your English Corner for more fascinating tales that teach you English while you study history. See you in the following tale.